Alright, hello YouTube, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. This time, we're returning to a flight in progress. The docking pilot is turned off. Oh right, I see, okay. But yes, as said, at the end of the last episode, I have off-screen been... Oh, there, the mouse has been weird. Set its target. I have been finishing construction of our space station that we've been trying to construct. And we are nearly there. I have docked 3 of the 4 modules. We will, I believe I said this in the episode, we did a bit of a, well, I did a bit of a miscount on the electrical power that we'd have in each module. Didn't have quite enough on each one. So I needed 5,000 on each one, and I don't think we were quite that close to that. So we are going to have to launch at one final module, which will act as a bit of a docking adapter, so keeping the docking port for the whatever cruise shuttle type thing we build a bit closer, a bit further away rather, so it's not as likely to bump into anything else, and also just to add some more power storage, which shouldn't be very hard. Should be quite easy to build something like that. It'll basically be a tube with a set of batteries in it. We might even be able to use the universal storage stuff. It might not even have been them that were causing the problems before. We might try it at least. But yeah, so we'll launch that. That'll be on quite a small rocket and probably a fairly quick flight. And then the space hotel will be complete, and we'll see what the next stage is. Now, money-wise, I believe we're going to probably make maybe about 100,000. I think it was 600,000 they're willing to pay us for this. And we have had 4 launches that cost about... what do you call it? 4 launches that cost about 100,000 each, I believe, or something close to that. Maybe a little over, and one that costs a bit less, and there'll be another one that'll probably be about 40,000, I'd imagine, maybe even a bit less than that. I don't know quite how much some of the parts will cost. So we're not going to make a huge amount of money off this, but we will at least get most of the costs back, and then hopefully the rest of the contracts we can take from it will make the real money from it, or at least that's the idea. Hopefully it should approach just fine without any particular further intervention being needed. To just drift closer until it's ready to dock. Again, for the most part, doesn't need too much extra attention. Docking once you set it onto autopilot, to the point where I'm literally checking something else in the background. Right, but it looks like we're all good. That's kind of what the station looks like so far. We'll rotate it into place in a minute, but yeah, I said it's sort of four of the same module around a central core. Quite simple, but should work as well as anything else would. We've got the rounded solar panels for generating power. We haven't really got those big solar arrays like the ISS has, because Kerbal Space stations don't use a tremendous amount of power. The other thing we could potentially do, I've realised for the next module, is we could cheat a little bit and we could dock a science module to the station, turn it into a science station as well as a like an active research station as well as a hotel, which we might even do. Actually, I'm liking that idea more and more, because while that's up there, it will be generating us more science. Because the labs could even generate science when you've already researched everything in a biome. You can then store the data in the labs and process it, and they will make you more science. So we'll probably do that, actually. It'll require a slightly bigger launch, but again, the money will be worth it, and we'll make back the money we invested from the contract, and then we'll be free to take, let's say, ferrying up and down contracts, actually make some money on it. We might even design a reusable shuttle of some kind. Maybe a single stage to orbit rocket that can be refueled. I don't know just yet, but again, it's a little bit finicky when it comes to docking it. You can hear we could probably hear the RCS puffing away to try and get it to exactly the right place. It's really fiddly. Oh, there we go. And then it suddenly decides to have a bit of speed on it. Yes, we're nearly there. Nearly finished with construction of the station. There's just a little bit more to go. Frame rate's holding out well, though. Usually when you start to dock larger crafts together, it starts to slow down a bit, but I guess this is still small enough that it's running okay. I think we would have been okay actually not extending the ports, but it looks a little better with them extended like that. Bit more space between everything to divide it up. At the moment it is unmanned, there's no crew at all on board. But we have to have a 50-man crew capacity, and again we will need more power. So we'll dock that with the lab module. Make sure there's some more batteries on board. Up you go. There we go. And we are nearly there. It is just that electric pad that's letting us down. Which is annoying because we're not even that far off. About literally 1,000 more power on each one. So 2 more batteries would have been enough. Oh, that's even worse. If we'd stuck with our original idea of 8 batteries on each section, we would have had enough. Oh dear. Oh well, that's fine. We get to build the lab now, which I hadn't thought of before, so we'll do that. We need to bring 4,000 battery or 4,000 electric charge of us. We'll need an antenna because it's still going to be drone flown. We're going to have 2 Kerbal engineers on board, but not pilots. Not engineers, scientists on board. Oh, it might not be a bad idea to send up an engineer though, so we could fix things if it got broken. Mind you, we don't have any of the sort of solar panels that get bumped and then break, so I suppose we're probably okay. Right. So we need the 1 meter guidance unit, which I believe is that one. Let's double check. No, it's not that one. It is that one. Yeah. You need a docking port on the end. Metal. And we need a lab. Now we have the full size one. We also have a couple of different ones. Electrical storage, you say? Yeah, 300, that's not enough. Right. We should have a full size lab somewhere. It might be in the science actually. Yeah. So we could go for the, I think, is that a small one? No, is that a slightly larger one? Hang on. Data storage 1,000, 750. It is a slightly larger lab. And much larger. Oh, it's actually smaller size though. That's interesting. Smaller size, but it holds more. Really? It's just smaller. Crew required 1. Oh! Oh, crews required 1. I see. That's interesting. That one's smaller and it can do more. Where's that? Entry slots 2. Yeah, it is just straight up worse, apparently. Cost less, it's lighter. Huh. Interesting. Oh well, I'm not going to complain at that, so... We want a structural adapter. We're going to need batteries and 4,000 worth, so... It's going to be a little more to it than just a lab. Probably do is another payload adapter with... We'll try the universal storage batteries again. If we have a wide enough... Do we have a wide enough thing for that? Do we have a 2 meter... Do we have a 2.5? Yeah, whatever, they'll live being a little exposed to space. Got crew tube in the middle. Yeah, crew transfer tube. How much do they hold? We need 4,000, so between 8 of them, yeah, that would be right. Actually, if we do 2 meter, we can include some of the science equipment because we are going to want some experiments with this lab because it does need science experiments to actually process. Should we fill these 6 up with these 1K batteries? Yeah, and then the rest will be 6,000. That'll definitely be enough power. We'll have a materials bay. And we can have a goo unit and a atmospheric science unit. I think that's actually all the science we have at the moment. There we go. A full science lab. Metal. Metal and metal. Same for you. Metal, metal, metal. Said metal so many times, it's getting weird. Power. We'll want some power generation, so we'll stick with the fixed panels like we've been doing so far, maybe. I think. Yeah. Stick with a little collar like that. And we'll leave the rest open, and then we need a small RCS fuel tank. that small or not quite that large. In that case, we'll use some strap-on tanks. Do we want those ones, or do we want the larger ones, right? Where are they? We don't have them. Okay. We do want those, apparently. Those are the ones we have. Well, the multi-purpose tanks, I think we can load them with monoprop. Yeah, there we go. So they hold 60 each. Yeah, that's better. And if we, yeah, a little awkward looking. Quite like this to be visually nice looking as well. Oh. Can we fill that up with monoprop? No. Okay. What about one of these? They're the wrong size. Yeah, boy. I don't think there is a monoprop. Oh, no, there is one for us. Yeah, I was going to say there should be one for our size craft. Right, okay. So this will be the SS01 lab module. Docking adapter. And that's another thing, we do need to make sure this does have an extended docking adapter, because it is going to need to be where other craft coming to and from actually dock from. So we will need that there, and we will need one of those because we can't attach to the other type. So, right, we will need engines as well. We need monopropellant engines. I think we have some strap-on monopropellant fired engines, but I'm not sure. No, maybe not. Oh, we do have these. Not very efficient, but powerful. They're on liquid fuel. We could add some small liquid fuel tanks maybe and use those. Smallish anyway. Yeah, ants. Use some ants. Kind of fuel efficiency we'd be looking at like that. Wow, 300 across 5 minutes. Let's actually rotate these to face the right way and see what we get. 289. That's poor, shall we say? Oh, we need especially considering we need thrusters as well. Okay, let's not use those. First, let's get the RCS thrusters on because we're going to need those. I believe we used these ones so far. We'll continue to do so here. Put the second set up here. It's a little bit lower than I'd like, but as long as the center of mass is, yeah, in between, that's fine. We do need something to push this thing forwards. What have we got? We could fit onto. Oh, maybe we could just do a new stage. Yeah, we'll just do a new stage and have a little bit of power on it. Okay. Speaking of payload, pairing. This is almost a sensible shape. Apart from when it gets a little bit wider here. Oh, we didn't do it gold. That was the other thing. We were gonna. Yeah. The last section. Want to make it good. Right. So that will get to. That will be docked once we get near it. We now need to get it to the station. She's a poodle. That's the one. It's the efficient upper stage engine. Yep. In fact, we might do a skipper and have a smaller secondary stage, or primary stage, I should say. Right, and we need a decoupler. It's the right size. We don't need very much here at all. Fuji hydrogen engine. No, we want a mainsail. Mainsail. Skiff. It's a skiff when it's at home. Oh, high efficiency. I see. Mainsail. Yeah, and then a little bit more fuel than that. Yeah, 5,000. That should be enough. Change the colour a little bit, because why not? Do a grey shroud. Yeah, why not? There we go. I don't know if we can change the colour of that to avoid the stripe. Oh, we can have a hazard stripe. That's nice. Okay. If we have the black fins. Special black and gold special edition final part of the space station rocket. Cost us about 50,000. That's not too bad. So it should be a simple two-stage fire check, detach. We'll have 4 sides to that. We'll turn clamshell on. They sort of keep fragmenting off in massive explosions, and it makes me nervous, so I'm going to set these ones to... clamshell basically means that the individual pieces will stick as one. If you don't have that enabled, they sort of fragment, like you've seen in previous episodes. But yes, this should be... Oh, I haven't... There's always something. I haven't set the crew up. We need to make sure that the lab is crewed by 2 scientists. It says 1 crew is required, but I believe you need 2 scientists for a lab. And we might lose a little bit of a delta V from having a scientist on board. I think the Kerbals have some weight. Or mass them, I suppose. Right, so we're going to take our 2 Space Camp scientists, Obgi and Nathalan. Yeah, we did actually. We lost about 40 something. Interesting. Lost about 40 something delta V there. The Kerbals do have a little bit of weight to them. That means we could launch some theoretical vehicles empty and get a little bit further on them. That's right. Guess after this I need to decide what will be our next mission, but this is actually probably the last Kerbal recording I'll be doing for this batch, because I'll be on to making the next game next week. Like I say, I was trying to remember to say at the end of the episodes, I am a developer, primarily, ideally, although if YouTube takes off, you know. You never know. But, yeah, I'm primarily a games developer, and I've recently released my second game. You'll find it in the description. Hint, hint, wink, wink. It very much helps out if you take a look. But more than that, it will mean I'm not able to do as much YouTube from next week, because I'll have to go back to actually working on the sequel, which is going to be the next project, full-time, basically. So that's going to be interesting. Going to have to get to, like, plot writing and things, actually working out, like, right, what exactly are the details for the second one going to be? Annoyingly, we're launching at night, so I don't get to see the gold in all its glory, but either way, we are launched to rendezvous. We should go straight there. She got some scans and things already. Did we fit a transmitter on this one? We did not. It is a good thing I think of these things before we launch. Well, just before we launch, anyway. Yes, I think we need an antenna. We might be okay because there are crew on board. That actually might override the need for a radio antenna, but because I don't trust it. Well, 4 antennas there, and we will have a 16S out here. Well, they stick through. In fact, we will have a 16S, or 4 even, on the inside, because they will activate automatically, and I can't lose control by forgetting to do that. And they're just about not in the way of the RCS. That looks alright. Right, launch again. We've only lost barely like 10 delta V from having those on there, so... But not like 100, not like 1,000, no, 10. Or about 1 space fart's worth. Right, hopefully the crew is still correct. Okay, we have our 2 scientists. Doing their time in the lab. Right. Station again. Crew quarters. Launch to rendezvous. Engage autopilot. Let's hope there's nothing I've forgotten this time. There always seems to be something. We are running a little low on money. We have been burning through a lot to build this station, but again, it's a long-term goal. Yes, I haven't said in this one, so our long-term goal is to try and build a colony. Send out to Eeloo, and also potentially one to Moho, and we might add some planet mod packs later, depending on how all this goes and how well it runs with them. To do that, we have to fund it. And to fund it, we're going to try and go with the tourism contracts packs, Space Hotel, and potentially the Space Casino later, and I think there's one other thing, maybe? But we haven't got to those just yet. Where you can build rather large space stations. That's why we haven't been out very far, despite having been quite a few episodes in. We haven't gone to Duna or anything. Part of that was also a weak comms network, which we've improved since, but yeah, a good chunk of it was just that. We'd like to go to Duna soon. I'd like to maybe do a fly there and come back mission, perhaps, with crew on board, perhaps. Maybe even a lab. But we shall see on that one. Like a miniature version of what we hope to do later. And perhaps a lander mission later on with some of the same hardware, maybe. Although with the addition of the lab on board here, we are going to be able to do a lot more science. It's going to be a benefit. What we'll probably do is set that off and then see if we get some more contracts for actually running the space hotel. I believe eventually you maybe even get a decommission one. I think to take it out of orbit, but I'm not sure on that. I know definitely. I'm pretty sure you get contracts to both load and unload it. Also notice we did not have that error, so it wasn't the universal storage that caused the error before when we had those batteries. It must have just been some random, just generic bug, I think. The autopilot's been quite good at taking us to the right place, but we did have one not shown failed flight with the modules where the booster hit the engine and the engine actually lost that time and broke. Obviously, I just reverted that one back to thing, but yeah, we could definitely do with getting some Septrons. I'm actually really surprised we haven't got any yet. I guess I've missed whatever they come from on the tech tree. But it's certainly something I'll look into taking because they are very useful. They're just a little solid motor that just kicks away the whatever you attach it to from whatever you want it to go away from, basically. I think normally we'd have a bunch, but that's because I normally have Blue Dog or Tantaras installed. But because they were causing lag, we haven't got either of those this time. To light the lights up. Apparently there's lights on there, but I don't know where. I guess maybe at the far end. Ports enable staging. Oh, is that like a stage to couple thing? Right. It looks like we're pretty close anyway. So do the RCS to make a turn? Yep. Probably has some torque, but seeing as we've got RCS and plenty of fuel, we might as well use it. Apparently I didn't use any. It's quite impressive. Look, how's your lab looking? If we can see into it, we can. Oh, it's 2 floors, I think. One Kerbal up top and one at the... I see. High tech. Yes. Laptop. And we've got various blinking science devices and things. Hatch to the outside. Not blocked for once. And hatch to go further forwards and back. So they're fairly well kitted out in there. Although I suppose we can take a little... Hello. Internal view. So we have our brave Kerbal. The face of genius. We have... E equals MC squared. Vander something. Wormhole, I think. Solar system map. Math. Procedure. How to do a thing. Something. Not sure. It's probably not too important. It's a bit smudged looking. Yeah, and then we've got the last section. Okay. Let's take it a moment to the side. Yeah, there we go. It's got to the right place. The sun going to come up? We're going to be able to see now? Oh, yes it is. We're quite close, I think. We should be able to see the station. No, maybe not. Oh, that's us. I don't think we're far off, wherever the other part is. Oh, it's ahead. Okay. Okay, going to need the rendezvous autopilot. We'll not come out super close this time. I think we might actually have a little bit of manoeuvring to do. It's not too bad because we've still got about a K of Delta V left. 1.2K. I think we have come out a little further away than some of these have, so we're going to need to do a little bit of extra manoeuvring. Yeah, looks like MechDev these days will fire at the thrusters and start you going round and then just let it sort of drift until it gets round. Deploy all our experiments. Oop. Not actually run it, we just want to deploy it. Deploy the goobay. Okay, so don't believe we have much science aboard. Oh, we have a little bit. Pressure scan. We will transmit that back to Kerbin as is. And what we will do in a minute is, in fact, we can start doing that now because we'll have a bit of a wait. If we... What deploy the VB? Oh, I think it was deployed. Okay. They're the mystery goo. We do process in the lab. We store the data in the lab rather than transmit it straight away. Same with all the other experiments. Including our other big one on the other side. Materials bay. We did open that. Oh. I miss out on the chance to do the next bit because the game sets us off. Alright. Material study. We also store that in the lab. So rather than just transmitting the science outright and probably getting nothing, if we do start research, see we have a 103 data set. You'll notice it says 9 and a bit science per day. Yep, we'll just generate a bit of science over time. But 400 storage. That might be the difference of this lab. I don't think this stores as much. It stores more data, but not as much science, maybe? Well, maybe that's the same. I'm not sure. I'm still a bit surprised. This seems to just be outright better than the other one, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, so there they go. 0.001 science. It takes a while to build up. Often years if you want to actually process a full lot, but A, you can leave it running in the background, and B, this is Kerbal. There's no penalty for waiting. You can just time warp. So deploy that, because we're going to need that for docking once we get to the station. It is, I believe, yep, it's doing the thing of cut our orbit down to be smaller so it doesn't maneuver to lower periapse than circularize. Then, brain. Orbit a few times till you're on the right spot, then intercept back to where you're back up to the station. Or whatever you're trying to dock with, I should say. I believe the other thing we could do is... we can clean out our experiments, can't we? I know we can straight transmit as well. I think us using the data didn't actually sort of consume the experiment, as it were. We'll also transmit that. Transmit. Oh no, functionality will be lost. Don't worry too much. Don't worry about it. What we can do, I believe, from here, is clean experiments. Yeah, if you have an active lab, you can just automatically clean out the external experiments and be ready to use them again. Which they can get on with while the station itself turns around. Yes, we are definitely going to need a recovery vehicle from the station. It's going to be the only thing, because at the moment there is no way for them to get back. But they're settled in for the long haul anyway. They know they're going to be working in the lab, so. And the more science you have, or the more data you have in there, I should say, the faster it will process. If you've got a load of modded experiments, like I've been used to somewhat more recently, you can do an awful lot very quickly. If, like at the moment, you don't have that many because you've actually got a lighter mod set. I don't know how easy it's going to be for us to fill the lab, but labs are definitely things we'll be wanting to take with us on future trips. We'll probably want at least one alongside the other buildings in the colony. Because you can do it with surface experiments too. Any experiment in the game, you can use a lab on to get more out of it. I think even on the ground, you could put one down at the Space Center and get a bunch of science out of it. Put one on a rover maybe and just drive around all the different bits of the buildings and gain science from them. A bit cheap perhaps, but it would work. Whoa. Whoa, what happened? Whoa, disengage, what happened? Okay, I think our reactor thrusters are too powerful and they're messing with the autopilot. I think that is what happened. But I'm not sure why it shot forwards like that. If it pivots again like that, I'll cut down the thrust limiter on the main engine. I was really not hoping for this episode to be the one where I had to learn to rendezvous manually. That's close enough, right. Okay. Yeah, it's been a little weird. I have to admit. It's pivoting quite hard. I don't think we're off balance particularly. Going to close the bay doors. No, I guess that's just stuck open. Yeah, I thought we were balanced. We done something to throw it really out? Definitely controlling from the right place, right? In the docking port. A quick save. Maybe we ended up controlling from somewhere that wasn't quite right, but... Hmm. And again, the monopropellant thrusters were already thrown off the orbit. I was actually surprised how much they're throwing it out. Not very powerful, are they? Yeah, sometimes you get a bit of a... This is the sort of thing where Mech occasionally falls over. It just has the occasional mystery moment where you're just like, why is that what you chose to do? Kind of thing, like, why are you... And it's a bit frustrating because that's the point where you're like, I wish I did know how to do this manually. Now, I don't care enough to learn how to do it manually. I don't find it fun, but it is a bit annoying. Yeah, it really... Oh, is it because this is shaking? No, it's actually turning right round. When it does that maneuver, it's really throwing it out. What is going on? I think it is. This is too powerful. I do think this is too powerful. Right, disengage. Teach it exactly how powerful its new engine is. Reactivate, and we'll reactivate the SAS... The RCS system. A quick save, but it is being odd. I'm not sure what's going on this time. I think part of it was just being too powerful. It squashes that section right up because the docking ports connections are a bit weird. And then that causes problems. So if we do what we've done and limit it really heavily, we should be okay. The canister actually escaped. It looked like there's a little animation of the canister actually coming right out. So we'll transfer a tiny bit of extra science. Anyway. Still researching? Operational, yep. We've almost got 100th of a... We've got almost got 200ths of a... Or 50th of a piece of science. Again, not fast, but you can time warp and just let it run in the background. It will run even if you're not on that particular craft, so... There is that. I think it even gives you an update when the lab's full. Don't quote me on that. Right, let's see how we go. Hopefully this works this time. Again, I've limited it to 10% power. It is quite a powerful engine. I can kind of see why it would cause some problems. Oh, there's the station there, actually, and that's probably the string of engines that have been discarded behind it, gradually drifting away. Engine should go any second. No connection. Ah. Are we seriously in a blind spot? We have fantastic coverage. Is that what the problem's been? We don't have a... We're covered in antennas. They're just not long range enough. Now we've got a connection. We're not getting the relay signals. Oh, boy. Well, you know what? We're going to revert that one to... as annoying as an ending as that is, I think we're going to have to revert that one to hangar. We'll fit some more powerful antennas on. That could even be why it was being weird or part of it. We will strut because these will come off. We've got a decoupler attached. We're going to strut this gap so that the compression effect doesn't happen and the engine can run as intended. So fit struts there. For the next attempt at launching, we'll fit the antennas. We just have two of these. And two of the longer range ones on the other side. We'll still have a connection when we detach, so it won't lose it automatically, but then we'll also extend the two longer range ones. Should we get a connection? In fact, I might even launch this now. I don't have time to do a whole other episode, but I can quickly launch this and try and get it docked, and then we'll finish the episode on that. That'll be a lot better. So I'll see you guys in a moment, and hopefully this will all work out. We're back, and if you ever wanted another example of the universe, and by extension this game's random chaos, this time 5 kilometers off. This time it just worked. It just rendezvoused and just got us way closer. I don't know what's different. Well, I know what's partly different. I think this is helping a lot. I really think that flex was really messing with it. So I think getting rid of that little flex in the joint there might have been most of it, really. Because we're only like 6 kilometers off. In theory, we'll probably get a closer target. Yeah, closer target, plotting intercept. It'll just push us a little bit closer. In fact, you can even see it over there. I didn't even realise we were that close to it. Let's go a little screenshot. Yeah, that's Kerbal. It happens sometimes. Sometimes you'll have some bits that'll be a right pain. Sometimes you get moments like this and it just works first time. It really does vary a little bit. Oh, we haven't done any of the lab stuff this time, I suppose. Alright, transit that. Even then, it was a little bit off. It did drift a bit there. We'll set the thrust limiter way down. It doesn't pulse quite so hard next time. Right, process data in the lab. Process data in the lab. Deploy those two. Log, process it in the lab. Log, process it in the lab. Good. Open the bay doors. I believe we've already checked it, but we'll... And clean experiments and start research. Once they're cleaned, we'll transmit a little extra bit of data too. Oh, game's lagging. Oh no, we're okay. Yeah, we've got the better antennas this time. We seem to be getting a better signal. Actually transmit that data. A small amount of science. Got a bit more from the 103 or so data we got in there. Very good. Right. Where's the station? It's there. We're nearly there. Now, I believe this will be all we need. I believe this will be enough to finish the station, and we'll probably call it there. And I would say that's been a good... Even if depending on how much time I have for the series, even if it's a little while before I continue, I would say that would be a good place to at least temporarily pause the series on. Probably when I get back to doing YouTube next, I'll try and maybe split between Astrox and Kerbal. At the moment is what I'm thinking. I like both. We haven't done a bit of Astrox for a while, but I'd also like to continue with this while I still remember what we're doing, so we'll maybe alternate a little bit between them. Go from here. Right, there should be a docking port on the back. Set as target. Quick save. Oh, we had auto warp on the docking autopilot. No wonder we were waiting around so much last time. Right, engage. Engage. Why are you not... What is wrong? Oh boy, here we go. We've got electrical charge. We have a signal. SAS. Right, target. Target plus. Oh. Rendezvous, not docking. Yeah, okay, no, we don't have to worry about that. So we'll open SAS, but just because we'll want to change it once we get to the station. Okay, I had a brief moment of like, oh good, something's broken at the last moment there, but I think we're okay. Yep, so new arrivals will dock, enter and leave there. Oh, that's the other thing we'll do before we leave. We will accept the reward for the contract, and we'll see if there's indeed already some contracts to ferry people up there, and I rather suspect there will be. But how many and what they're willing to pay us will be interesting, because we'll get to see what sort of budget we're working within for whatever our crew transfer method ends up being. Move it in. I reckon you get quite a good view out of that space station. The lights don't blind you first. But you actually do get quite a lot of windows, at least in those central sections. Then you get a good omnidirectional view, so you can see Kerbin, you can see the nearby space junk. All sorts of bits and pieces. I definitely would have deorbited that bit, but we don't really have a good way to do that at the moment. Again, annoyingly, there's no auto warp on this. Every other one has it, but I guess because it's fine maneuvering, you probably maybe a bit risky, but I don't believe it's rotating or anything or moving, but we'll just quickly make sure. Rotation, good. It is specifically even trying not to move. I don't know whether the space station could adjust its orbit at the moment. I don't think we have any engines on it, apart from these 4 that are all facing different directions. I guess we could temporarily control it from one of those. Ideally, I suppose, if we need to move the station, we could attach a rocket pack effectively to the back of this that was designed to burn at long burn, but, or at least not long burn, but a low power engine or low thruster weight. So if we move it too fast, the whole station's going to flex. But if we burn it slowly, maybe even an ion engine, so gradually adjust the station's altitude or whatever. Just because we had to build it up here in the first place doesn't mean we can't move it down later. But I'd probably better leave it in case it suddenly decides the space station's not valid anymore. If that happens, we got paid for it anyway, I suppose, but start getting contracts for it and we'll have to build another one or push it back into place again. If that even counts. Might do. Anyway, we're almost there. We're almost finished with its construction. Spit, spit, spit. It likes to pulse the throttle. We've still got loads of monopropellant left. We've got plenty of that for adjusting the station, I'll say that much. Could have put some monopropellant fuel APUs on it, but once we get those a lot, but we don't really need them, I suppose. We've got solar. Station's not using any power yet. Right. There we go. And let's set it to radial mass. Let's point it in the direction that it's actually supposed to be facing. Might as well use some of its large quantity of RCS. That's probably good. Look at that. We did it. We built the space hotel. Contract is complete. It is officially open. That it is. 15 reputation and 600,000 money, which puts us about back to where we were. At 800,000. In fact, it might even be a little up. I think we're on about 700 when we first started. So, excellent. So we have a fully operational space hotel. We have a satellite network. Done quite well for what we've done so far. Let's also have a look again at what we could potentially be doing for next time. But we're nearly done, so while we're wrapping up, I will say I am a developer as well as someone who plays games, so if you want to support the channel as well as all the normal subscribe stuff, take a quick look in the, what do you call it? Take a look in the description and you'll find some links to the games I've made. You might like them. We do already have a contract. We have 2, in fact. We have one to bring up 3 tourists, and we have another one to bring up 12. And there would be nothing stopping us from doing both at once, which we might even do. So we'll take those for next time. They are paying good. It is actually paying quite well. We could also potentially get some extra tech, and I think there they are, Septrons. We're going to take precision propulsion because that's the Septrons we were talking about. So, for next time, we will get those tourists up there and we will build some kind of shuttlecraft rocket, whatever. We don't know yet. But hopefully you've all enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys all again next time. Bye-bye.